Shalom, shalom family. Just coming on here to give a land update from Kentucky. Here's the back field where we'll be putting our 4 sheep. And here's the shed where we're going to add on to have a little paddock so I can tie up the sheep and keep them from moving whenever you start the cleaning process, because whenever you start the cleaning process they're not really sure what's going on, so it spooks them. And there's a fence. We stretched it with a tractor, so the fence looks pretty good for my dad and I's first time. There's a couple areas where whenever we first began it kind of looked bad because the fence was all bent up, or the holes were all pushed together like this, but it'd be more than 4 or 5 of them pushed together. Here's all the tomato cages that Sister Renee and Brother Chance made. It's made out of concrete wire because we found whenever we buy the tomato cages from Walmart, it's made of such a low gauge metal that it collapses once they put on any weight or get it to a decent size. I'm going to pass it off to Brother Chance so he can take you into the greenhouse.
Shalom everybody. So this is my watering area right here, and I have a pump that runs into the pond over here, and I drag a hose over here and then I fill this up, and I got my watering can. That's what I use to water my greenhouse. My greenhouse is a 13 by 78. I have some carrots right here, and my cages are made out of concrete wire, and then we just shaped it and bended it and used it zip ties to keep them together. Actually holds up pretty well. And so we got our tomatoes right here. Some of them are blooming pretty good. And I had a disease that came through whenever I bought some little seedlings, and it really hurt right here at the bottom of them. There's like some kind of rot there, and it's kind of funneling into the roots, and it kind of just takes over the stem, and then they just kind of wilt over. But over my big tomatoes over here, I got some big suckers off of those, and that's what I'm using. And I put them in a big pot full of soil. I kept the soil really moist, and so that way I'll be able to make other plants out of that without having to restart from seed completely. And so I got some more peppers over here. They're going pretty good. A couple of them got that same disease, but a little bit different. Some of them are coming back. So I kind of pinched off the top a little bit where it was in the middle, and so it's trying to come back on me. A couple of them didn't make it, but they're looking pretty good. I put them under black plastic, so one, it keeps the weeds down pretty well, and it keeps the water in better because it keeps moisture inside of it, and just makes the ground more moist and holds the nutrients a little better. And so I put some of my seedlings over there. And the greenhouse, it kind of gets too hot, and I can't put way too many things in here, so I try to keep it to peppers, tomatoes, different things that are better with hot climates and stuff like that. So here's my greenhouse. So I'll hand it back to John. Show him.
Yeah, one thing that we missed is Chance. He planted some garlic back in the fall, and it got too hot. Chance was gonna transplant them, but our father told us not to. So this was our learning year. So now we know not to plant it too late in the fall, because then it will be dying out during whenever it comes back to the hot period. Those are carrots. Mm-hmm. Chance likes to pull them out of the ground and just eat them. Yeah. How hot is it in here right now, bro?
90 degrees.
90 degrees. I'm sweating. Well, once you get back near the door and you step outside, it's really nice. A nice climate change. Feels awesome.
I feel a lot more grateful.
Yeah. And here's our watermelon patch. We have been doing the Back to Eden gardening for the last 5 to 6 years. This is our second oldest area that we have the mulch down, and then we've extended it twice. So up here is where it's going to be the oldest, but then around where the edge of the fence is, that's relatively new in the last year. But the older it gets, the thicker it is, the more nutrients in, and the less weeding you have to do. About how many times do you have to weed?
About once a week.
Then if you didn't have the mulch, you'd be weeding at least 2 to 3 times a week. Okay. We have about 12 watermelon here. There's a chicken coop. This chicken coop my dad built 8 years ago, and it's starting to deteriorate and from all the weather, and we designed it to where we could hook our tractor up to it and drag it like a sled so we could move it. And then normally we put mulch and stuff down in there so it would compost, and all of the leftover foods we would throw in there for it to become a nice compost for us to put with the plants. But we haven't been able to do that lately because we're running low on mulch. We have to get our local mulchers to drop off at our store so we can haul it in this trailer to our house so we can spread it like normal. We have all the materials for our new chicken coop in here, but our master builder, my father, has to run double shifts at work to keep the store stocked, and this is where we're going to build it, so it's been put on hold till he has to work less. Shalom, Sister Renee. Don't spray us. Renee's watering the cantaloupe right now. We have a couple fruit trees right there.
We have our hose hooked up to the pond.
So we're not getting any of that nasty fluoride in the plants, stunting the growth.
Did any water anything else up there, Chance? No, okay.
So
Where's the last time you watered the watermelon?
here, take it.
Alright, shalom everybody, I'm back. So right here, we have a planting of beans right here. You can't see them yet, but they're little mounds right here. And so I was going to try potatoes again, because last year they didn't work out so well. The potatoes were really small inside. The top was really nice and blooming like normal, but they just didn't do so good at the bottom when I dug them up. So right here, we got some cabbage right here, just a little bit. I've had some trouble with some of those white flies, right? And so I've been putting this Captain Jack's on it, something like that, to put on it so it keeps them away pretty good. And so I have some beans. The first 4 are one planting, the other 2 are another planting, and down there is another planting. They're looking pretty good. And then I got 3 fences of cucumbers, and I've been training them to go up the fence the past couple weeks. So they're doing nice and well and green. And this is my broccoli right here. Got a little row right there. And the rest over here is peas, and we've been freezing them up and storing them. They're looking pretty good too. Have to pick them about every other day or so. Now we're going to head over to the big field area. The neighbors right next to us allowed us to use their property over here to till up and everything for an exchange of a little bit of vegetables here and there, stuff like that. And so I got 3 rows of squash right here. They're looking good. They're blooming really beautifully. And then I got 5 rows of red potatoes right here. And then I got 2 rows of onions right here. And I had some extra seeds, so I got 7 rows of white potatoes. Then I got a row of beets, and on the other side of that is corn. You see down through there? And then I got some onions right here. The rest of this over here is corn. I'm waiting for the corn to come up so I can easily decipher that between the weeds and the corn, so that way I don't actually chop one down, you know. And so there's a little patch over here. I was getting a little condensed on space, so I had to put some stuff really close together. So I got some sweet potatoes over there. I was trying those. I've never done those before, so I was trying to see how those worked out. Then I got some cabbage through here, some more of that. These haven't gotten hit by the whiteflies yet, so hallelujah. And so I got some okra over here, little row right there. And then I got 2 little rows of squash right here. They're growing some more leaves and getting bigger. And this is the newly tilled area that Jonathan just tilled up for me. And so there's some watermelon down there. You can't see it quite well, but there's about 12 or so. So I'll head it back to John.
Yeah, pretty much the agreement on the land is that we'll give them some of the produce from it and keep the rest of the field mowed down and keep it nice. And they're not charging us, hallelujah. Be able to grow more and for a chance to be able to expand more. And Chance learned balancing schoolwork and trying to keep all this up and planning has been a lot of work.
Yes, sir.
And I haven't been able to help him much because Dad has me at the store and trying to grow a lawn mowing business and mowing for clients. We have all of our apple trees here, and we had to buy more little ones because whenever we originally planted the first trees, we didn't have other plants to pollinate with, so they kind of stunted their growth for a little while. But now you're starting to see the apples come on. Might be able to make an apple wine or just
Applesauce.
apple cider, applesauce, apple dumplings. I'm hoping to make apple wine or blueberry wine out of the vineyard for the feast. So be able to have a beautiful time, and then we'll know where it all came from. I guess.
Cucumber coming on.
Oh, our cucumbers are finally coming on. Training them to run up here. Oh, kind of getting closer.
Got one of our first cucumbers. So they're definitely coming on. There's some little ones growing back in here. So yeah, they're definitely coming on. Going right up that fence.
We're going to get back to it and we'll keep you posted on what's going on.
Shalom.
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 Shalom.